All right, welcome to the last attempt Guildcast. We're here with Shakatan, and
Hello.
we're gonna be going over our what we're doing in raid this week and what we've been going over. Whoops, I got a little didn't see the next part that I had planned out. Anyways, I'm gonna try not to have dead air. So for the we've got a little agenda and some housekeeping for the guild. For a recruiting update, we are still filling out our mythic team, especially since mythic season 1 is coming up. Midnight season 1 is coming up. We need tanks, heals, DPS, so all the roles available. There will be a Discord app link in the description. And a reminder for anybody new: raid nights are Tuesday to Thursday, 9 to 11:30 Pacific time every week. We want to get a quick roundtable going. Ask our guest here, or our host, Shagatan, what he's been up to. All right, quick week check-in. Keep it about a minute or two. What have you been busy with in WoW for the last week?
Honestly, just the rating aspect of it. I've been I haven't really I haven't done like I already did the pre-patch quests on a couple of characters and stuff like that, and so I haven't really done much of anything else other than just making sure that I am prepped for raid and have all the stuff that I need. Or, if talking to anybody that needs to be, talked to or added into the guild, if they're on our Discord or something like that. So there's really not a whole lot that I've been doing in WoW this week, especially since, we're getting close to midnight release, and it's like, I kind of take I know we're still trying to get dementias down, but I take a little bit of a time to you know, kind of not be so grindy, because I know, once midnight releases, be leveling up characters and whatnot, and it'll take up more of my time. So I kind of like let it air out a little bit, right?
Yeah. A lot of players usually just take the time off, but we raid all the
Right.
way to the end of the season and then start back up again. So there's not really any time off. So it's like a downtime for you.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah,
So,
definitely playing other games and stuff.
what games you've
So.
been up to?
I played this game called Puzzle. Well, actually, so last night, I got with some friends and we played some Jackbox TV. And it was the 11th pack, like, because they just add like packs to it, and it was pretty cool. They have like some audio. I don't know if you've ever played Jackbox TV, but
I have not. Yeah. Why don't you like break it down? What kind of, it's like a party game? Sounds like it.
it's a party game, yeah, that you play with other players, and then whoever the host is, you go on to the Jackbox.tv website, and you basically watch the host stream the game, and then they give you a 4-digit code. You put that code in on the website, and it connects you to the host. And they kind of use both the website, and you can do it on your phone as well. You use the website plus they're watching their stream, like, and we use Discord for it, and then it's just Jackbox stuff. They have like all kinds of games. There was like a trivia game, but it was like an RPG where they would like they all had health bars, and they had to like go through and answer various trivia questions, and they would like beat like having to fight like an ogre and stuff like that, and so they're like battling it back and forth. And then if you're like not playing and you're just an audience member, you can like roll dice to like try to heal the party and stuff like that.
That's actually pretty
So you can
cool.
actually like add in. Yeah, it's pretty cool. We
So
did
it's
that,
just
and
like
then
it's
we
web
played.
based.
It's right. It's streamed on one person buys the game off of like Steam or something like that, and
Oh.
then they
So
in
the
their
host is
game
running
they get
software,
a
but
code.
everybody else can jump in through a web portal.
Yeah, they don't have to have it, right?
That
Only
actually
the
sounds really cool. That's a very
yeah.
interesting way to get multiplayer in, right? It's like a low barrier of entry, but you still have somebody buying your game.
Right, right. I think they made it. They wanted to make it like because they had Jackbox, you know, where you could buy it at the store, right? The physical copies of it and
Oh, is
stuff like
that
that. And I think they
normally
wanted.
is it normally like a board game or something?
It's like a yeah. It's kind of like a board game, kind of like a video board type like game. It's really hard to describe. It runs kind of like what it does now, but but it was in the home, right? And one person could have it, right? And then everybody's like playing it, and I think they kind of wanted to keep that kind of interaction going, right? Where it's like not everybody needs to have the game,
Yeah, that
so
makes
you could
sense.
kind of play it, yeah, like in a lot more places, I guess, but yeah, we did that, yep. And then we played Pummel Party, which is just like a Mario Party game. And then I was playing this puzzle game too that it only took me like 2 days to beat it, but it was a lot of fun. It was this like puzzle box game that I got for free off of Twitch. You ever get those free games off Twitch?
Off Twitch, no. I
Oh,
usually
okay.
just get like the World of Warcraft drops. The only ones that I really
Oh,
pay attention to.
gotcha. If you look up in those notifications, they'll have like all these free games that you can download. And it goes through
Download.
like,
Like you don't have to watch somebody
yeah,
stream for it.
no, no, they're like free. Like if you like up in the top right corner, they have like
Yeah, and
they
I
just
usually
have
see them. I
these.
mean, I was taking a look for the cat. Was it a cat? We got a pet recently. No, Murloc. Got a Murloc recently for like
Hmm.
watching WoW streams. So I know where the notification box is, but I think I just like put the blinders on for anything that isn't what
Hmm.
like where's my WoW item?
Right. And they'll go through like GOG, Amazon Games client, the Epic client. So they're like all the different clients, but no, they just give you you like just click on a page and they have like, man, maybe like at least like a couple games every month, but they'll have backlogs, so it's like, you could probably go on there right now and get 10 free games. Like bam. Like easy. And they just give you the product key code for it, and all you have to do is just have the client for whatever it is, if it's GOG or Amazon Games or uh Derpa Derpa, the Epic client.
Yeah,
So I just have all those clients and I just get free games. So I got it's a cool, really cool puzzle game that was on there recently.
yeah.
Just can't
I should
remember
need to
what
take
it was
advantage
called.
of that. Is it free games? Why
Yeah,
not?
everybody should. Free game is a free game, brother.
Absolutely. I've been I guess not really the same because I play a lot of WoW, but I guess my downtime is still downtime from retail, so I'm still kind of in the same zone that you're in, where I'm not playing retail as heavily. I don't log in very often. If I do, it's only on my rogue. I just leveled a an outlaw rogue, and I've never played outlaw before, but I've got like 3,000 hours on my main rogue, which is subtlety, and it's a blast. It was a blast before the pre-patch. It's still a blast. I'm having a lot of fun on it. So, if I log into retail and it's not raid night, I am very likely on my rogue. But for the most part, I've been playing hardcore. A hardcore classic is it's a whole new game for me. I jump into some of the other classics here and there, but hardcore definitely has my focus.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a whole different ball game.
Dude, I almost die so often. Sometimes it's an accident. Sometimes it's just how it goes, and it's intense every time. I mean, my heart rate literally goes up. I can feel it. But yeah,
Kind of takes
that's
you, yeah,
what was that?
go ahead.
Go for
Oh,
it.
I was just gonna say it kind of takes you back to games, how games used to be, where there was actually a loss of something, well, I mean, in this case, your whole entire character, right? Which is, you know, pretty intense for a MMO. You just lose your character if you die.
Yeah, losing everything. I mean, your profession, progression, and the thing about it is in any of the classic era versions of WoW, anytime I play a classic era, 1 through 60, I will hardcore, not I will level everything together. So I'm leveling weapon skills, making sure all of those are going up with me. Leveling profession skills, fishing, cooking, first aid. Everything gets leveled at the same time, and so the progression to the top is a lot slower because I'm going off on these tangents and doing these things, and I'll take time away from like questing to just sit there at a lake and just fish because I need the fish there. It helps with cooking, and a lot of these things, a lot of these game features, they overlap with each other really well, and so you end up getting this like really well-rounded character, but it does take a lot of time. And so by the time I die, because of some ridiculous thing at level 20, it's like, dude, that was so much time. Had I just grinded to the top, I might have actually made it to 60, but that was just like filling out all the profession, doing all the stuff, mining. It takes time, but it reminds me of the same feeling that I get from I guess like Elden Ring, and not from the difficulty of it, where it's like a really, really hard challenge, but where the stakes are really high. Because in Elden Ring, I always felt like the stakes were really high because it was such a difficult barrier for me to get through, and like, any of the mistakes that I made, or or I had the passive understanding of like, I cannot take on everything. I'm not in God mode here. If I accidentally run into another crowd of enemies or something, I'm probably dead, and I have to run away and try to get away. And that's kind of how I played Elden Ring. And it does have its own set of challenges. It's definitely not technically challenging like Elden Ring, but the stakes are high, and I think that's what really draws me back week after week to just come back to hardcore.
Right. Now, do you do dungeons? Do you do like dungeons with other people? Like, how's that work? How much trust do you put into other people?
Well, so in the first runs, I was running a druid and I was healing, and so that was a little sketchy, but I'm not really up front, and I just because of the druid, the mobility and everything, and kind of being at range, I had more of an opportunity to like escape. And now I'm playing a rogue, and I'm melee. So if the tank goes down and I'm high on threat, like, I'm immediately taking hits to the face I should not be taking, and the opportunity to react may not be there. So I'm constantly having to watch like the tank and their health and where we're all at. I don't have any healing that I can provide anybody other than like bandages. But you can't do it during, if they take any combat damage, it's going to cancel it. So like, you have to, if that opportunity comes up where I'm going to heal somebody with a bandage, like, I will do that. Like, there's been opportunities for me to do that, and it's been really intense. But I have to wait for us to recover from whatever caused unnecessary damage, right? Because if everyone does it really carefully, we run through really carefully, really slowly, we pull pack by pack, and there's no crazy pulls. It's not like retail WoW, where everyone is just rushing through, pulling the entire dungeon. It is a slow adventure. It really does feel like an adventure. We have time to literally chat and talk to each other in between pulls because we're going so slow, So it really does. I mean, nobody's role playing, but it does feel like I'm with a group of adventurers, and we're working our way through. It just. Yeah, I do lament the fact that there's like absolutely no other role players on the server at all. Like, that's just like, if you're a role player, hardcore is just not their vibe. It's just way too hardcore. But for me personally, I love role playing. I feel like this is the perfect place for role play. Like, you die. That's an immersion level that I think is really missing from retail. Whereas the role play on retail is kind of like it's like a chat room basically. And I feel like the hardcore has an opportunity, if ever there was some ability, something that just pushes role players to hardcore, like maybe a really popular Twitch streamer who does role play or something goes and does it, and they show people an example of like a party going through in hardcore and like actually like losing one of their friends and like role playing through that, like, and then picking them back up at level 1 and then just, whatever that means, I think that would just be so interesting. But there's like no role players, so it's whatever. But even so, it still feels really, really cool, really dangerous. The stakes are high, you know. The heroic moments of saving people and getting close calls, like the heroic moments that kind of reason I played video games. They're here in spades.
Hmm. Right. Do you play with the same people? Do you have like are you in like are you guilded there, or do you just like pick up
There's only one
random
guild on the server now. And the
one
population's been
guild?
declining, and they've been
Oh
moving
wow.
around. You know, they give players opportunity to get out of a server and move to another, free realm transfers, things like that, to try to like consolidate servers. And there was a move with, I think, a bunch of the top people who were there was for a while. There was a guild of people who were leveling, and there was a guild of people who were at level 60 and basically ready to raid and do end game content, right? And
Uh-huh.
they're collecting all the stuff that you need for raiding, all the items, profession stuff, and a lot of them are going into like those really high end dungeons that are still really dangerous at level 60, even when you have gear, you know?
Right.
Like yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and we had an add-on called Greenwall that binds both of the chats together, so you kind of like get to talk to each other for both guilds. So it was already kind of like one guild, and then a bunch of people moved away, and then we consolidated into one guild. So there's just like this one guild there, not very many people. So it is a little hard to get into dungeon groups if you're not on the right time of day, and usually I play in the middle of the night, so it's a lot of
Oh,
solo
okay.
play. But when you do find
Yeah.
a group, it's like, you know, it's classic WoW. At my level, none of us have mounts, so we're moving across the whole world, and then we
Right.
all meet up outside. We're in the Barrens, you know. We fight our way through, you know, into Wailing Caverns, and we're, you know, it's really cool. It's very immersive. I feel.
Cool. 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 Cool.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into a little news patch cycle here. We've got some things that we want to just hit the headlines real quick before we move into, you know, what the guild has been up to, the stuff that we're doing.
Let's do it. Get right to it.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I was like, oh, where's this thing? I had it pulled up. I swear to God. All right, so starting at the top of the news, we've got a Burning Crusade Classic Anniversary Edition trailer. Now, if you guys haven't seen this, I highly suggest to go check it out. It's amazing. It's actually the same 3D artist that was doing some of the community content before. Looks like he's on their payroll. Blizzard's official Warcraft account dropped a new Burning Crusade Classic Anniversary trailer, and it looks like, again, they're still working with Hurricane, the community animator they brought in, because this thing is gorgeous. It's entirely player perspective meta. The Dark Portal line, the Surge Through, then rapid fire shots of Outland zones, dungeons, and raids that just hit pure nostalgia.
Now you know what they forgot? They forgot the blood elves in that video.
A lot of people mention that. A lot of people mention that. I think I don't have anything for that, right? But
Right.
when I was looking at it, I do remember that Hurricane does this thing where he it's that patch. So if you remember, like Wrath of the Lich King animations, and I think there was like another one. It's this patch is coming out because like once they hired him, they were like, oh hey, it's like, you know, this anniversary classic thing or whatever, Wrath of the Lich King patch 3.2 or whatever, and the cinematic that was made from Hurricane for that one was relevant to the patch cycle. So it didn't say anything about Malagos, it didn't say anything about the Lich King or whatever, because that's before and after. It didn't say anything about the tournament, but it had the animations of like from the player perspective meta, which has been Hurricane's thing the whole time, right? Like
Okay.
not only the animation style, but as you are looking at it, enjoying the video, I think that the audience like passively understands that I'm watching players in the World of Warcraft. Like you're not watching
Right.
the RPG World of Warcraft thing. And so I think that because the Burning Crusade has like the Blood Elf content, like kind of at the later patches, that when that patch drops for the classic thing, like we're gonna see that. We're gonna see another Hurricane video. They're gonna try to really hype up that patch cycle. And I imagine that we'll see a video, and we're gonna get those Blood Elf highlights and stuff with Quel'Thalas and stuff.
Word. Sounds good.
Yeah, then we got a new charity pet pack. Blizzard's doing another one. This time it supports Habitat for Humanity, which has helped over 65 million people worldwide access affordable housing. Rufus is a construction themed companion with a yellow hard hat and a hammer in his mouth. And the bundle also includes matching doghouse, bed, and bold decor items. It's an easy feel good pickup. The pet is genuinely cute, the theme is on point, and it'll probably end up being a great addition to player houses when we can place pets as decor items.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Next, we have the player housing cinematic. Blizzard's Coming Home housing cinematic nails the player fantasy. You get the drop you've been chasing, you head home, and you actually feel that little rush of placing it and making your space yours. Ozzy's Mama I'm Coming Home was a perfect needle drop for that transition. It's not the ultra high res cinematic style, but the more stylized Blizzard look. Think Hearthstone, Overwatch vibes. Fits the brand, and leaning into that player meta perspective for housing was a genuinely smart move. Did you get to see this one?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, it was pretty
I was
cool.
impressed.
It was really well
I think it
done.
was beautiful. The animation was beautiful. The song choice was wonderful, and like I said, like the player meta perspective. And everyone that I hear talking about it is like, dude, that is exactly what it feels like.
Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure. For
Just
sure.
that seriousness. You're killing the void things, and you get the crown, and you're like, yeah, and then just vanish away. It was just, dude, it
Right.
was such a fun cinematic, and I really enjoy seeing. In the cinematic, you see that the player comes in, and we all know what the Orgrimmar type of the Horde island looks like for player neighborhood, right? And this was a representation of that. And they are pretty big in game, right? But as represented in the cinematic, almost like a cinematic universe, it is so much bigger. And I just love that they put that attention to detail. That they're not just like, just rip the assets from the game and just throw them into the this little courtyard that they obviously recognize. Like, it was definitely designed completely as a almost a cinematic sort of setting, right?
For sure. For
I really
sure.
enjoy when Blizzard gives us a glimpse into that. I know that we're probably never going to get another Warcraft movie again, but if we did, like, when I see these little glimpses, I think that's the World of Warcraft movie I want to see. You know, I want to see this kind of thing in the world that they obviously can see, right? It's just the Warcraft movie didn't really give us the places here in Azeroth that we're so used to.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think their scope was very large for maybe the movie, and you know, they kind of missed on what makes World of Warcraft these days. And it didn't do well in the box office because I think a lot of people really couldn't.
Dude, I
I
watched
don't
it
know.
3 times. I
What?
didn't.
What?
I watched it 3 times in
Oh,
the theaters.
I enjoyed it.
Like, I thought it was a good movie. If it didn't have the Warcraft brand on it, I was like, this is a great fantasy movie, like, overall. But it didn't tell the
Right.
Warcraft movie it didn't tell the Warcraft story I wanted to hear as a player, and I thought that a lot of players also felt that way too. But at the same time, I was like, I really got to support this.
Right. I think because it's Duratan, right? It's like it's pre-Thrall, it's pre-Arthas, it's like the very first, portal opening, and yeah, there's some like cool Gul'dan, in there, and like there's some key players in there, but it's really not in the time frame that a lot of even WoW players like really think about a lot. If they would have went with like Arthas, if they would have like just straight up like started telling, the Burning
Absolutely.
Legion Arthas storyline and the Lich King and all that, like they would have it would have
Dude,
been way bigger hit.
would have been apt, dude, if they just opened up with the culling of Strathholm
Right.
as the opener, right? And then like a quick cut to black, cut a little bit of credits in, cut back in. He's on a boat. He's headed to Northrend. Cut back to black. You know, you're throwing some more in. He cut back in, and you know he's just making his move. You know, down the coast or whatever, just like doing something. Because eventually he goes underground to the Nerubians, and then he's got to race the Legion to the Frozen Throne, right? And there's that whole. So that could be the movie, but there's just like that intro could just be so intense, and you could.
Yeah.
Missed. You're right. Missed. I loved it, and I love Blizzard, and I love WoW, and I love the thing. But damn, did they miss that target?
Right. Yeah, you know, like I said, I think their goal was to have more movies, right? So
Yes.
I get that they wanted to, you know, to kind of create the setting, right? And they're telling story that's going back like to the RTS games, you know? They're like telling those stories, and you know, a lot of people, even lore people, don't even know that side of it, you know? They don't really fully understand what was going on there.
Yeah, I think they
Because
didn't
it's not in
recognize the player base, right? Because at the
right,
time they were boasting millions of subscribers, but there was a disconnect between what those people thought was valuable and what they thought those people thought was valuable. Like they didn't
right,
really have, they weren't plugged in. You know, but
right.
I think if we pay attention to the way that World of Warcraft has developed over the last few years, you know, especially with Holly Longdale up there, I think it's going in a great direction, and there's just so much more focus on the community and what players really want, and a lot more thoughtfulness around that. Honestly, I think if they do another movie, I think it would be really good. I just don't know that Microsoft would be like, yeah, it's okay, we'll fund one.
Right, right. I mean, they got to pick the right. They have to pick the right time and setting and stuff. That's gonna really grab players and do quite the marketing campaign to really get you know, people on board with it. Since the first one didn't do very well. I mean, I think it did decently in China, but that's about it. I know they still didn't make money off the movie.
Yeah.
You know, they should have went the kind of like the Lord of the Rings route or something, you know, because like you've got the Hobbit, right? But like, okay, let's just get into the nitty gritty first, and then you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then we like you want to do prequels afterwards. Then okay, let's go there, you know.
Yes. Yeah, get the whoever the current WoW base is and just throw stuff at them. Because, you know, thinking about it, if we're just taking spells, for example, we didn't see modern World of Warcraft spells because in the timeline that they had, we've got humans who barely have any mages, right? We've got that little bit of lore that literally nobody knows, where there's like trolls that are, you know, conquering the planet, and you got these humans, and they're like, hey, we could really use some help. There actually was the elves that were like, hey, we really need some help, and they're like, yeah, if you teach 100 of our humans how to be mages, we'll help. I'll give you the whole army. We'll make it happen. And then now you have this first initial council of like 100, who then, you know, down from them, they start to teach all the rest of the humans and such magic, and it kind of disseminates from there. And then you get in all the other magic races or magic classes and such that come in modern WoW. But like initially, it was that. And so mages were super rare. And that's kind of like the story that they were telling. And you have like the young Khadgar, and it's almost like when Star Wars the prequel ones came out, and everyone was super upset because they were like, "Who gives a shit about these guys in the past? Like, I want to see what the fuck is going on now." You know?
Right. Right. It was almost like the Kirin Tor mages were, you know, they're kind of they're separated, right, from everybody.
Yeah, and they just weren't in there. They changed some things in the universe. They, you know, they were kind of taking the Marvel universe approach because Marvel was really kind of getting big at the time, and they were like, "Oh, the idea that you just have a completely separate universe for your cinematic universe is widely accepted by people, so we can actually cut things out and mash things together in a way that's gonna let us tell a story for the long haul or whatever going forward." Maybe that's what they thought. Maybe they were like, we have a Marvel universe right here, so we are also gonna have 20 movies at some point. It's like, no, dude, you didn't respect art. You didn't respect the community. You know, like you should have
Right.
known. Because if you think about the spell effects at the time, rogues had Killing Spree, and Killing Spree teleported you around every half second to another enemy within range, and you do X amount of damage. and then you go back to your starting location. This literally made you untargetable for a moment while you appeared somewhere else, and then if they were to target you again, half second later you're gone again. So this was like really cool. It always reminded me of the White House scene in the second X-Men movie with Nightcrawler.
Oh, with Nightcrawler?
And imagine that against a paladin and a mage, right? And a full-on brutal fight down with these classes using their abilities like to the fullest extent, like in an actual real battle. Like, dude, it would have been so good. It would have been so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, maybe they can try again someday. You know,
I'm really hoping. When maybe Microsoft makes their own movie, media studio, because like Apple's done that and a few other of these really big companies, and Microsoft's kind of basically up there now. So if even other companies like clothing companies are getting into making movies, because it's like a really good way to advertise for your own stuff. It's very, very interesting take on that. I think there was actually a movie on Netflix recently that did exactly that. And then they made a ton of money off of like writing in product placement into the story. Like they all went and did this thing at what's the house thing that you can rent a whole house and stuff?
Oh, like Airbnb stuff?
Airbnb has this thing that you can do when you rent a house, but it's like a session of like yoga or something, or wine and drawing, or some event, but you're doing it at a house instead of at some like retail location or something. And
interesting.
And that's a new thing for Airbnb. So they paid the show, and the show being centric on like that type of thing, put that in as just like the plot of one of the episodes.
Okay.
And so it's just like kind of shoehorned in. It's really odd, but the place that had made this series in the first place was like also a business, like a company that had nothing to do with media. But now we're starting to see that instead of going to advertising firms and doing all these things, it's just bring it in house and do it yourself, and you save a ton of money and get a lot of revenue. And so, like, I think if we see Microsoft do the same thing and take after some of these places and these other businesses out there in the market, we might be able to see maybe not a movie. Maybe we get like a TV show because it's a little bit cheaper. They spread out a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah. So next on the news, we got a Game Informer interview. In this Game Informer interview, the WoW devs talk about going back to Northrend in The Last Titan, and it sounds like they're taking the same make the whole region coherent approach they used for Midnight's rebuilt Eversong Ghostlands region. The big takeaway is that they're trying to respect the memories we have of these places while still showing what time and current events have done to Northrend through environmental storytelling. And if that's the plan, Northrend is shaping up to be something incredibly special. And on that note, I'd like to point out that we've got quotes from Ghostcrawler from back in the day, 2011 BlizzCons, and around in that area, other devs talking about having a planned underground zone, very similar to the underground cave we got in Dragonflight, I think, is Zaralek Caverns, which the entrance and exits of that cavern was like poorly designed. A lot of players didn't like that. And then we got just a much better experience of an underground zone that was literally most of the War Within, right? One zone was at top and the rest of them were underground.
Right.
So it almost, Zaralek Caverns, I was thinking was like, oh, that was a beta for what is now like the full release of like this sort of underground kind of paradigm that they have going. And I think I was wrong. I think the War Within was the test, and Northrend in The Last Titan is going to be, the next step up of what it looks like, what World of Warcraft looks like when you have a massive overworld with a mirrored, just as big or nearly as big underworld, and I think there's definitely that in the War Within, but you go way down, there's the Ringing Deeps, and you go off to the side, there's Hollowfall, and there's the, then you go down again and you're in Aj Kahet. I think that we're going to see a different paradigm in Northrend, because the Nerubians are basically right under the surface, so we don't have to go down, down, down just to get to some Spider Kingdom, right? It's like right there poking out into the surface, as well as all the other Titan technology that's in the north end of it with like Ulduar and such, and the things that are carved into the ground and carved into, like literally carved into a mountain. Like they hollowed out a mountain, put a machine in there. And so you have these giant engines of the Makers all over, and I think we're really going to be able to have this intricate machinery world that's underneath the ground that we can literally fly through and fly around and explore and discover, almost like probably a much more advanced like Ringing Deeps, with the borders of that bordering on a Nerubian empire again that we can fly like up and down in, that's like got real true depth. And they had to scrap the Nerubian section of the game for Northrend. Like that was like a really inspired thing that they wanted to do, and it ended up being a couple dungeons. But those dungeons were originally like the idea for what the expanded version of it was supposed to be, was a whole quest zone with like, or a whole zone with like quests and storylines and all kinds of stuff. Basically Ajkahet. But they planned that in 2000 whatever, just for Wrath of the Lich King. So I think that I'm really excited about the reimagining of Northrend. I think we're in for a real big treat.
It makes sense that they do it now that we're learning more what Azeroth is, who Azeroth is, right? Down
and
in
what
the
the
core
Titans are
of this, right, what the planet actually is, and so it's cool. It'll be very interesting to see where it does go once we get to the last Titan, and moving on from that whole story arc. I'm really very curious to see what happens. Maybe when Azeroth is unbound. Who knows, right?
Oh, dude, I've been speculating on that a little bit, and like I'm secretly hoping for this sort of like Warhammer 40k universe that we're like creeping into, because like what's the next 20 years of WoW? Is it really just like
Right.
I mean, Ian Hazzikostas did say in the Game Informer interview that we're talking about that it's almost an absurd notion to think that we've created this story, we told the story in Northrend and all this, and we can never go back, right? Because we sort of went back for Shadowlands. And they had the intro. It was very relevant to Ice Crown, and it's being mirrored to the other side in Shadowlands and stuff, right? In the Maw.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can see that we went back to kind of throw a narrative there, but we didn't really go back. But you can go back to Ice Crown, you can see it. It's crazy to see it in the skybox until they cleaned it up, because we closed it up. But that was really interesting, but it's not like we didn't get to go back to that place. Not like the way that we did with Cataclysm. And so he was, mentioned that it's ridiculous to not be able to go back. And so going back and just re-envisioning it, kind of giving players another shot at Northrend, it's like a really exciting thing. And it's kind of setting them up for the rest of going forward. So I might be wrong. I was thinking like they have nowhere else to go. They've got to go to space, and we've got to go to this 40k version, but they might start coming back. And we're going to go
just
to
around,
again, and we're going to make another run through. Like
are the giants
because we already did Warlords,
right? We're going to go to Grizzly Hills, or we're going to go to that area. Are the giants still having their those stone giants are still digging out? Like we're going to see like changes, right?
Specifically for Northrend, we're going to have those changes. We're going to have the environmental storytelling of
the
like
story's going to be like evolving,
but thinking forward, going into past the trilogy, right? Past the War Within trilogy, or the World Soul Saga, right? In the future, because the way they mentioned it, they talked specifically about what they did with Quel'Thalas, what they did with Eversong Woods and Ghostlands, and bound them together instead of having this like weird phasing thing where you're like, now I'm in modern WoW, now I'm in 20 years old WoW, now I'm in modern WoW, right? Like jumping back and forth. And so that also drove their decision to build out Zulaman and the rest of the island that's past that and put story in there. And that's why there's a raid there. That's why there's story there, right? Because they're sort of constrained in this way to build this whole thing out because of a design decision that they made. And they said that that specifically made had an effect on how they were deciding to go after Northrend, because it's still not in that sort of far in the development cycle. So them now for Midnight releasing what they're doing with these old zones, they're like, cool, yeah, players love it. We're going to do that. That's like, we're just going to run with that for Northrend now. And so thinking ahead, we can see that, hey, maybe there's like some zones that will get a rework. Maybe they're going to pick, let's say Twilight Highlands, right? Because right now in the pre-patch is kind of relevant. And it would end up cutting off at the borders for that, but we'd get like a whole new zone and some stuff there, right? And we'd see World of Warcraft move forward in time. But I don't know that they would come back to Kalimdor or Eastern Kingdoms. Like, we might get something bigger, like, dude, what if we went to Pandaria again? And we got to really see, because at the end of Pandaria, we don't get like the kind of closure that you would think, right? Like, if you go back there, if you have it phased the right way, it's Shaw is everywhere, right? Like the Shaw of
still around, right?
Yeah, in the Veil of Eternal Blossoms, and we were supposed to have that all. So it kind of lacks that that closure, and I think being able to go back to Pandaria and there being something with that, that could be a cool opportunity. But maybe that's what they do, right? Where they just start looping back on themselves, and we start going back to these old places that we know and love, and we just keep updating them. And then every now and then get a brand new place or something.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, who knows, man? It's gonna be definitely some exciting times in Warcraft. That's for sure.
20 more years is what they promised.
Right, they're going in a. So far, I mean, War Within was a great Dragon. I enjoyed. There's some people that didn't like Dragonflight. That's when I came back into WoW, and I actually really enjoyed. Felt fresh, and I think they're doing good with this new story arc, especially now that Chris Metzen has come back. As a big, he's huge into, I think, getting this back on track.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of the player base are really receptive to him coming back. It was a really exciting thing to see him on that stage again.
Yep. For sure.
All right, so we're going to hop into the next section. We're going to go over the sort of guild portion of our show, and just kind of what we've been up to as a guild this week, and where we're at in our raid progression. You want to take us into that?
Yeah, I mean, since the pre-patch, Mythic has been a lot easier. I don't know if everybody knows that. I think there's a lot of people that aren't playing right now that don't realize how big of change it was with the stat squish. But so far we're 7 out of 8 on Manaforge, and
feels good.
Yeah, it feels good. We're making progress, on Dementius, and we're pushing along. I think we've got probably at least over. I'm gonna say I'd have to look at the stats, but probably like 50, close to 50 tries, maybe more in the 30 to 40 try range. I think attempts. I could be wrong. I'd have to look at the logs, but that's what it feels about, because we've only really encountered him for, I think, 2 full raid nights, right? That like where we really got tries on him.
Yeah.
It was like 2.5.
Last time we were somewhere up in like the 17 pools.
Right. But we had a little gimme on Salad Bar this week. He was kind of just let us kill him there at the end.
Oh, yeah, he got deleted so fast.
and so we were able to really progress on Dementius, and that's a fight that's mechanic heavy, for sure, and everybody's got to be on their toes in that fight, especially on those platforms, to get those to get those the patches, where the aiming the your I don't even know what the spell is called. I should have this up, but the slow, the beams basically away from the raid, and and getting those ads down as quick as possible.
Yeah, those new
I
mechanics
didn't
are
even realize.
tough.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that there's the collapsing stars or whatever. That there was two at each zone, which is really helps out on those ads on their health pools.
Yeah, bringing them down as long as we can have people actually pick them up. You know, making sure that everyone's alive for that phase. But we've been progressing much closer. Like I don't know who's dying, but I can see, you know, at a glance that a lot more of the raid frames are filled with like alive health bars than dead ones as we're getting into the second platform, you know, and it's good progression.
Yeah, it is. Yep. We just and it's hard as we're here in the tail end of the season. Just because we've got some AFKers, people doing their own things, and we're having to bring in some pugs and stuff like that. But a lot of
I
these
think
pugs
that's
that
its
we've
own
had are,
challenge.
yeah, it's its own challenge. Luckily, a lot of them have been wanting to come for each raid night. They're in our community,
Oh,
even if
that's
they're
good.
not in the guild, and it's good to have them at least reoccurring people, come back week to week, and recognize that there is lockout on Mythic, and you are locked in for that week. So why not stay?
Yeah, why not just progress through it and get that kill? I mean, we're getting so close. You know, anybody who's gonna tag along with us for one of these nights, you're so better off just sticking with it. Like, make sure that you get on at the right times, and you kind of have a priority, right? Like, we get those people in, you know, first.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. You might even win some of Stram's gold.
yeah, with the
The,
gambling, just got updated, so they're gonna be
yeah.
playing some chicken pretty soon. I'm still trying to like work on that add-on, but it ain't gonna happen for a couple weeks. I think at least another week because I gotta work on my Jeep. You know, all my free time's been going on that. So, but those gambling add-ons they're a blast. even if
Oh,
you're
they really
even if
are.
you're not playing, and I don't even play most of the time, but watching it go down is just a lot of fun.
And you also got Dan Glisak. I'll actually say his name correctly.
Yeah.
That he just throws out gold sometimes.
Yeah,
So
sometimes it's just
join our
ridiculous.
raids, man.
Yeah,
You
you're
might
gonna
just get
get
like
20,000 for no
10,000,
reason,
50,000 gold. Yeah,
dude.
just
Somebody
for
came
rolling a good
in.
number.
They just joined the raid, right? It was I forget what it was, 3-4 weeks ago. Literally just joined the raid. It was a mage. Dangly did the roll, and this guy won it. It was 100K.
Yeah, big time,
It's like,
dude.
Dangly, bro, what are you doing? Give it to a guild member. But no, like, you
Yeah,
just random, just join. You're 2 minutes in, now you got 100K. Like, you gotta stay.
right. Why wouldn't you stay? Yeah, it's nice that we have fun while we're raiding, but when we're you know
When it's time to lock in,
in between
like,
pulls,
yeah.
yeah, when it's time to lock in, we're locking in. Yep.
Yeah, I think we're doing pretty good, and I'm really excited to make that progress. We've got that kind of we got that fire underneath us right now because I think a lot of the people in our guild understand that if we can get the 8 out of 8 before midnight release, it's still significant, right? Because there's not a lot of anybody that's really doing it because the mechanics are still unforgiving. You do still have to get the dance down. Granted, it's easier to stay alive and it's easier to get the damage out, but if you're not doing the dance, which technically speaking is like the whole game, right? So the parts that are sort of secondary, which a lot of people think are primary, have been muted, and now the main focus of what this game really is about, what the rating is really about, is getting those mechanics down, getting the coordination and the dance down with your team. Because if you go play with another team, it's cool that you got this one down, but you have to learn their dance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Everybody does it just a little bit differently, and yeah, playing with the same group every time it means it really does mean quite a lot.
And once we get that ranking, we get an 8 out of 8. You know, we will be. I think it's still to be somewhere around like 1,500. We'll be like literally ranked, like top like 1,500 guild or whatever of like the amount of people who've like done Demencius. Which
Yeah, Yeah, I think in the you or in our region it's actually even lower, you know. I think we're in like we would be like top like 700 in the region. But
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
what is it? World it's either world or US, it'd be in the top 2000 for sure.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
do
So
know that.
it would look really good. It's like for recruiting for midnight.
Mhm.
It'd put us ahead quite a bit. Because the difference between 7 out of 8 and 8 out of 8 is kind of a lot. Just there's like just the achievements not there or whatever, right? Like there's like just this. It's I think with the psychology of like how people see that players would see 7 out of 8 and then they'd see 5 out of 8 and they would just think the same thing, right? They would put those
Right.
two guilds in the same category of like, who do I want to go to? And if we're gonna really try to get like some really decent players, having that 8 out of 8 on the Warcraft logs on the ranking, I think that's gonna put us up where somebody's gonna look and who they're gonna be, a really good player, and we're going to be able to see that, and then we're going to be recruiting just kind of just much better. I don't know. I feel like it will get more dedicated players, right?
Absolutely. I'm looking at it now, and Indo did say last week if we would have gotten it, it would have been top 2K in the world and top 700 in the US.
Nice.
So that's pretty good. And let's not forget that until midnight hits, when we do down them, somebody's gonna get that mount,
Oh,
that
that's right. Yeah,
beautiful
there's going to be a
star
mount.
dragon mount.
I've
Hmm.
been thinking about that, and it's basically
Yeah,
it's going to be one shot. I think we're going to get one or two shots at that. You know,
yeah, for sure, for sure.
and
Hopefully this coming week we really get it locked in.
personally, I know it's gonna be crazy just because we do bring these other people in from the community and stuff. But it's like, dude, if you're not in the guild, I don't know that you should be rolling on that.
Right, because we
Because it's
just
like,
brought
dude,
it in.
we progressed through this all season, did all this thing. Like, we've all gotten like the whole mythic thing. Now we brought you into our salad bar skip, and you're coming in on this Demencius thing, and it's like it's cool, it's great. You got the achievement, you got the gear, you got it unlocked for if you're saving your turbo boost tokens, right? But I don't know. Like I kind of feel like it would feel really bad if we had a pug that was there only that literally just that day because we're filling. We need 20, and
Right,
this motherfucker gets it. Whoops. I mean,
right.
shit. I gotta stop cussing.
You can beep that out later.
Yeah, just give it. But yeah, just like it would, I would not feel good about it, and it wouldn't even be because I didn't get it. It was because I understand how much work we all put into that, and to know that the one time during the war within that we had the opportunity for that thing to drop that we all earned, that one of us didn't get it. So I think like
Right.
I don't know that we should front load the thing with that, but maybe we should, in the beginning in the chat, like confirm with the people who are pugging and stuff, like, hey, everything's open, but that mount,
The mount is going to go to a
the mount
guildie.
is that's a us thing. You're coming in on this. This is a guild run, and that's another thing too. People see guild run, and there's a lot more confidence in what we're going to be able to achieve.
Right. Right. Absolutely. There's more security for sure.
I know
In
when I
that
look
run,
for really
especially if you're
hard
getting locked
content,
in for the week.
I always,
Mm-hmm.
if I see guild, I'm like, bro, please take me.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? We're pretty chill about it too. About not kicking people. Allowing them to learn the fight, feel the fight. I
Yeah,
know there's a
yeah.
lot
If
of
we
runs you
get
get
you in,
into.
you're in. And that's kind of like
Yeah.
I've noticed that with Ragus, our raid leads are we've got a very forgiving style, and sometimes we do call people out like by name, but it is never to like make somebody feel bad. It's like, hey, no worries, you're not getting kicked, bro. But just like you died to that like 3 times. Do you think maybe you're having some like latency issues? So there's something that maybe we can compensate with this or
Yeah,
figure it
it's not to
out.
shame.
Yeah, and
Right.
sometimes it's just like, dude, I'm dying, and I just have the debuff, and I'm doing this thing, and I just can't, and it's really difficult. It's like, okay, we're gonna focus some more heals on you, and we figure it out.
For sure. Absolutely. Yep. 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 Yeah. Other than that, gosh, um, hopefully, we have been retaining some people from these groups. I know some of them are just their guilds are kind of down right now, but
Yeah,
they still wanna They still want to raid, but we've definitely gotten some people from these groups that we are retaining. We we really honestly great to retain some more healers. You know, that monk healer that's been coming has been awesome.
Oh yeah,
Been
definitely.
just blowing up the healing meters.
I really want to see more healers. I'm excited about seeing because like I'm usually pretty up there with the healing. I'm still getting my rotation down, but for midnight, I
Uh-huh.
would really like to move on into outlaw rogue. I think it'd be a lot of fun, but I don't feel like I want to unless there's some really strong healers on our team.
Right. With you've got Stram who's going to be moving over to Shadow Priest, and
Yeah, he's going DPS,
um yeah, he's going to
but we
go
might get Shammy
DPS.
back.
Yeah, yeah. Right. If he we'll see. We'll see
Maybe not at
how
the
that
beginning of
goes.
the
Hopefully
season, but
not at the
he
beginning.
was
Yeah.
talking about coming back, and he's a strong healer. The guys he's good. He's good at his class.
Yeah, he's out. Yeah, he's a beast. Um and yeah, we'll see. It'd be awesome if we got a Shari.
Dude, I
Um
think she's coming back. That's like because we mentioned to her and it was like, what happened with the other guild? They blew up the guilds she went to, whatever, which was unfortunate. But
right.
they were like a really top world guild and stuff. They were really really making some real progression, but they kind of blew up before they got to the end. So she made some decent progression, but she didn't get like super far. But she was
Right.
she mentioning coming back, getting back in there. And she's such a strong healer, dude.
Oh yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
nice, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like when you go into one of those guilds that's really pushing, right? Like I mean, like pushing hardcore. I think a lot of those personality types there, I could see why those guilds have a possibility of blowing up, right? Because I've been in uh like the previous guilds that like a rift is created, right? And some people do shame, or you know what I mean? Not shame, but you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
They
mean that happened
come
in
at
our
other
guild,
people
right?
pretty
Before I
hard.
got here.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
There
what
was a
I was
lot of
hearing about the
shaming going
history, the
on.
lore of the guild, and the rifts are created. I mean, from being in the guild now, it seems pretty solid. Like it doesn't seem like they've
Yeah,
got like that kind of thing going on anymore. So
right.
that's pretty good. But yes, I've seen examples of like the extreme guilds, and the pressure is high. The pressure is so high for those people, even if they're not monetizing it.
Right, right. It's like, man, at the end of the day, fun, right? Should be the factor in like, you know, hard fun, but fun. And
Definitely.
I don't want the game to completely feel
I
like
think
it's a
the
job,
the
right?
leads will determine that atmosphere. You can have people
Right.
along, you can have people who are on the team who are a very strong member of the team, be not so great. But if the leads are good and you've got a good like raid lead, guild lead, whatever, you're going to be in a good position because they're going to set the tone. They're going to take corrective measures and such, and they're going to make sure that the atmospheres. That's what our guild does, right? So like I never really have to worry about anything like that with our guild because everything is pretty chill, pretty
Oh
chill.
yeah. Indo, anybody who's doing call outs, and especially Indo, who I consider, really the core of the raid lead, right? Is just his demeanor is just so calm,
You mean
right?
Scourge?
Oh yeah, sorry, not Indo,
Yes, Indo's
Scourge.
our guild
My
lead, yeah,
my
but yeah,
bad. I
Scourge.
don't know what. Yeah, Indo is a guild lead, but yeah, Scourge is our raid lead. Yes, his demeanor is just calm, collected.
And Beef is a new, kind of newly in there, and he's great when he comes in. He's especially he's got the experience on Demencius, and he just takes over with those callouts, and he just does such a good job. I think it's great.
Right, right. It'll be interesting moving forward and seeing what he wants to do. Since I know he does run with another guild, and he's got his baby coming on in the way. So uh, it'll be interesting to see if he wants to keep on pushing with us.
Yeah, especially with all the roles he fills. So it's always good to have those kinds of players. So I also want to like get in to like running the DPS because I know I'm going to keep my healer up as well, like in that range.
Right.
But yeah, so that's we're basically up there on time. We're at the right at the hour mark here, and right before we close it out, we're gonna do a couple hot takes. We're gonna do one quick take each, just to end the week. Let's hear it.
You go first, because I don't know if I really have like a hot take right now.
My hot take is the add-on Apocalypse was just another Tuesday morning. It was no big deal, and we are in a much better place now.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I mean, I think I didn't really use a whole lot of add-ons to really begin with,
That's probably the only reason I have that perspective, but I know a lot of people don't.
Right.
So it's definitely a hot take.
I mean, I was just, crossing my fingers that console port was gonna.
Yes, same here.
Please,
I don't play
right?
on all of them, but I do when I do play them. It's really important that it works, and it does still. I love that.
Right. Other than that, I mean, I think a lot of people, I think we talked about this earlier, Hikili, something cooldown, like something that's gonna basically tell you what button to press, right? And some of that weak aura stuff, some of those crutches that people you could really depended on, I think, aren't there for people anymore. And I think maybe even like they're having to really watch their cooldown managers now. I think people are like looking at that stuff a lot more now, and it's also in these fights that we are dealing with right now. They weren't made for all that.
Yep,
all those add-ons to be
that.
gone.
Yeah, we're really gonna know in midnight.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I don't know if I really have a hot take, bro. Like
No
I wish I did, but I can agree.
We can have one.
Just
try and think of something contentious for next time.
Yeah, for sure. I'll work on that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's us. It's time we'll wrap it up now. I wonder if we could have like a cool little outro as well.
Oh.
And like kind of have like
a
different song that we'd like play at the end here. You get a little.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about it off this thing and
yeah, for sure. All right, man. And done.